Hello everyone, welcome again to my YouTube channel. This session of videos will be about drugs acting on autonomic nervous system, which is the pharmacological part. Okay, so before starting this part of pharmacology, we will try to understand some basic concepts of autonomic nervous system before understanding the mechanism how the drugs are acting on the autonomic nervous system and what are the pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics of these drugs. So, for understanding all these pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of the drugs on autonomic nervous system, firstly we will have to recall some basic things or basic concepts about autonomic nervous system. In this part of video, we will discuss about these some basic points which we should remember before starting the drugs or the mechanism how drugs are acting and finally what are their pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. So let's try to recall which we have done in anatomy and physiology part of autonomic nervous system. So uh, as we know that nervous system or the entire nervous system is divided into two main parts. The first one is peripheral nervous system and the another one is central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system consists of sensory division and the motor division, from where the motor division is further divided into two main system. One is somatic nervous systems, which supplies the skeletal muscles, and the autonomic nervous system which innervates the visceral organs. Okay, and the somatic nervous system is totally voluntary in nature, whereas the visceral or autonomic nervous system is involuntary in nature. The autonomic nervous system is further divided into two main parts, that are parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system conserves energy and promotes housekeeping functions during rest. And whereas the sympathetic nervous system mobilizes the body systems during activities. Okay. The things which differentiate somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system from each other can be understood by this image. On this image, a schematic plan of autonomic nervous system on the right side and the somatic nervous system on the left side is shown, uh, and in the mid segment of spinal cord is shown. Okay, so if we try to compare both of these, where one is autonomic nervous system and here is the somatic nervous system. Okay, so if we try to compare these both, the difference is that in autonomic nervous system autonomic ganglia is present, whereas it is absent in somatic nervous system. Okay, in autonomic nervous system there are preganglionic neurons present and postganglionic neurons present, whereas there are no preganglionic or postganglionic neurons present in case of somatic nervous system. So on the basis of these two differences, that motor division of the peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So as we discussed the differences between autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system, now let's move towards the autonomic nervous system, which are the neurotransmitters of autonomic nervous system and the receptors which acts in the autonomic nervous system. When we look forwards about the neurotransmitters of the autonomic nervous system, there are three neurotransmitters from which majority of them are acetylcholine and norepinephrine. Okay, which are released from majority of the neurons, but some of neurons secrete epinephrine also. So acetylcholine and norepinephrine are the major neurotransmitters of autonomic nervous system. But some of the neurons of autonomic nervous system also secretes epinephrine. Acetylcholine releasing nerve fibers are known as cholinergic cholinergic fibers cholinergic fibers. And as we know that norepinephrine is also known as noradrenaline, or epinephrine is known as adrenaline. So the fibers which secrete these two neurotransmitters are known as adrenergic adrenergic fibers. Okay, so now as the fibers releasing acetylcholine are known as cholinergic fibers, so in the same way the receptors which binds to acetylcholine are known as cholinergic receptors. Cholinergic receptors. Okay, so now let's move towards the receptors. If we talk about the receptors involved in autonomic nervous system, then two types of cholinergic receptors two types of cholinergic receptors on the basis of drug to which they binds, they are named according to the name of that drug. Okay, so cholinergic receptors are further found of two types. One is nicotinic receptors and another one is muscarinic receptors. Don't get confused that nicotinic receptors are also called as nicotinic cholinergic receptors. Okay, cholinergic receptors. And in the same way muscarinic receptors are also known as muscarinic cholinergic receptors. Muscarinic cholinergic receptors. Okay, so the thing is that the drug which binds to nicotinic receptors and mimics the acetylcholine, okay, is nicotine, whereas in muscarinic receptors the drug which mimics acetylcholine is muscarine. Muscarine is a poisonous substance which is released from some mushroom. Okay, and it mimics the acetylcholine. On the basis of that, nicotinic receptors and muscarinic receptors are further found or classified from cholinergic receptors. Okay, but these both are cholinergic receptors. So one thing which we have to we should understand that for nicotinic receptors, nicotine drug will bind only to the nicotinic receptors, and muscarine drug will binds only to the muscarinic receptors. But acetylcholine can bind either to nicotinic receptor or muscarinic receptor. It will bind to both. Okay, so it was the thing that we should remember. Now nicotinic receptors can also be written as N receptors. Okay, N receptors, and there are two types of nicotinic receptors found. You will find them either as N1 or N2, or maybe you will find them as NM or NN. Okay, so N1 or N2, NM means that these nicotinic receptors are found on neuromuscular junction of skeletal muscles. Neuromuscular junction of skeletal muscles, whereas receptors are found in the pre-ganglionic and post-ganglionic synapse. You can say that neuronal junction. On the neuronal junction, you will find the N receptors, whereas on the neuromuscular junction of skeletal muscles, you will find uh, NM receptors. Okay, so nicotinic receptors are of two types. Muscarinic receptors, there are three types of muscarinic receptors found, which one are M1, M2, and M3. Okay, now as norepinephrine and epinephrine are also known as non-adrenaline or adrenaline. So with the same name as cholinergic, acetylcholine binding receptors are known as cholinergic receptors. So noradrenaline or adrenaline binding receptors are known as adrenergic receptors. Okay, so adrenergic receptors, and there are two main categories of adrenergic receptors. One is alpha adrenergic receptors and the another is beta adrenergic receptors. If we try to know about the types of alpha, there are two types of alpha adrenergic receptors: alpha 1 adrenergic receptor and alpha 2 adrenergic receptor. Whereas there are three types of beta adrenergic receptors: beta 1, beta 2, and beta 3. Okay, so now as we know about the receptors and neurotransmitters involved in autonomic nervous system, so now we will see sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system separately. Okay, so let's move towards the sympathetic nervous system. If we talk about sympathetic nervous system is also referred to as thoracolumbar division. Okay, sympathetic nervous system is also known as thoracolumbar division. Thoracolumbar division, because this sympathetic division arises from the cell bodies of preganglionic neurons in spinal cord segments T1 to L2. Okay, so that's why it is known as thoracolumbar division. So now a picture is shown here in which the thoracic segment of spinal cord is shown. Thoracic segment of spinal cord. Okay, and this is the dorsal ganglion, dorsal ganglia or ganglion. Okay, and this is the ventral root, ventral root, and this one is the dorsal root. Okay, this one is the dorsal root, dorsal root. Okay, so as we can see here, the motor or preganglionic neuron shown in the like this one. Okay, the preganglionic neuron passes through the ventral root of the cord into the corresponding spinal nerve. Okay, and as the spinal nerve leaves the spinal canal via the ventral root, the preganglionic, which is preganglionic neurons, which is shown in the red color with continuous line, not the this like dotted line. Okay, the continuous shown in the continuous line leaves the spinal nerve and passes through a white ramus communicans. Okay, this part of the this branch of the spinal nerve is known as white ramus communicans. Why is it known as white ramus communicans? because the fiber which came into this branch are myelinated fibers, and the color of myelin sheath is white. So that's why majority of the fibers entering in this branch, okay, are white in color due to their myelination, okay. So that's why and they form a cord which is known as white ramus communicans, and they enters into the ganglia of the adjoining sympathetic trunk, and then to the tissues and organs that are stimulated by the sympathetic nerves. So, if we talk about the fate of this preganglionic fiber, there are four ways through which this preganglionic fiber or neuron can move. Okay, the one is that this preganglionic fiber may come and the synapse with the postganglionic fiber of this sympathetic ganglion. Okay, as you can see here, the first one is that it can synapse with the postganglionic neurons of the sympathetic ganglion. The second one is that it may go downwards without making any kind of synapse in the first ganglion on its way. Okay, so it can move downwards or move upwards, and finally synapse with the post ganglionic neuron of upper and lower sympathetic ganglia, as you can see here. Okay, so in this way, the five neuron, the axon of these neurons moving upward and downwards, they form a connecting chain, okay, which is known as sympathetic chain. Okay, so they leads to form a sympathetic chain, and it looks like a strand of glistening white beads. Okay, so the second way that it can move is maybe upward or downwards. The third one is that this preganglionic fiber neither synapse at the first ganglion on its way, nor move downwards or upwards. Without synapsing on the first ganglion, it can move directly from the ganglia to either directly to the organ, or maybe by synapsing to the another ganglion. Okay, so the fibers which move from the first ganglion directly moves to any organ of the body. It leads to the formation of a splanchnic nerve. In this picture, the this is the greater splanchnic nerve, and this one is the lesser splanchnic nerve. And finally, the fibers from greater and lesser splanchnic nerves enters in the celiac celiac ganglia ganglia. Okay, in sympathetic nervous system, there are two types of ganglia found. The this sympathetic trunk, as you are looking here, this one is paravertebral ganglia paravertebral ganglia, as they are situated on the sides of vertebral column, and the celiac ganglia is an example of prevertebral ganglia, because these ganglia prevertebral ganglias are situated on the front of vertebral column. Okay, so that's why they are known as prevertebral ganglia. So fibers from these two ganglia or splanchnic nerves moves to the some prevertebral ganglia, and then maybe they can innervate the organ. Okay, so it was the third fate of this fiber. And the fourth one is that this fiber can move without synapsing anywhere, and it can move to the adrenal gland and innervate the chromaffin cells of the adrenal gland. Okay, and these chromaffin cells will further act as a post ganglionic neuron. These chromaffin cells of adrenal gland will act as postganglionic neuron, and will release its substances, which are epinephrine and norepinephrine. And now, if we talk about the receptors also, in the same picture, if we try to know about the which receptors are present in which location. Okay, so we will see that in sympathetic preganglionic uh, neu- uh, uh, neurons, the neurotransmitter release will be acetylcholine. Okay, the neurotransmitter released will be acetylcholine. And in the same way here also, this one will release here acetylcholine. Preganglionic fiber will release acetylcholine. Okay, and from here the chromaffin cells, which will act as a postganglionic neuron, they will release norepinephrine and epinephrine. Okay, and which will act on smooth muscles and blood vessels, glands, acrine glands. Okay, and act will act there where adrenergic receptors will be present. Okay, and where this acetylcholine will act, here are the nicotinic cholinergic receptors. Nicotinic, I'll just write N receptors. Okay, so they are nicotinic receptors found. And in the same way, here are also nicotinic receptors in the sympathetic ganglion. Also there are nicotinic receptors found here. Okay, now let's summarize the sympathetic nervous system with its all the neurotransmitters which are involved in sympathetic nervous system, and the receptors with their location. Okay, let's try to summarize them. For example, if we talk about the neurotransmitters which are involved in sympathetic nervous system, approximately like almost all the sympathetic neurons or fibers releases norepinephrine. Okay, norepinephrine, you can say, is the major neurotransmitter released in sympathetic nervous system. uh, Norepinephrine and epinephrine, dopamine is also released by some of the fibers. Okay, ATP, neuropeptide Y, and some other calcitonin gene related peptides, calcitonin gene related peptide. Okay, uh, and some polypeptides like VIP, which is vasoactive intestinal peptide. Okay, vasoactive intestinal peptide, and the nitric oxide also. So the major neurotransmitter which is released by majority of uh, uh, neurons, majority of postganglionic neuron is this norepinephrine. Okay, and after that some of the neurons release these neurotransmitters also. So if we talk about the preganglionic neurotransmitter in sympathetic nervous system, if we talk about preganglionic neurotransmitter, that one is acetylcholine. Okay, and the in majority of cases the post ganglionic neurotransmitter uh, is norepinephrine. Okay, so if you are asked that which neurotransmitter is released from the uh, sympathetic in sympathetic nervous system, so you and they are given acetylcholine and epinephrine and norepinephrine, so you will have to remember that norepinephrine is the main characterizing neurotransmitter of sympathetic nervous system. Okay, so we did neurotransmitters. Now let's move towards the receptors. Okay, uh, if we talk about preganglionic receptors, preganglionic receptors means the receptors at which preganglionic neurotransmitters bind. Okay, so these receptors are nicotinic cholinergic receptors. Nicotinic cholinergic receptors. Okay, like the category is N2 or N receptors. Okay, these are found in preganglionic and on post ganglionic receptors. uh, there are found adrenergic alpha or beta adrenergic receptors will be found. Adrenergic receptors will be found. Okay, alpha or beta adrenergic receptors will be found. So now we completed the sympathetic part, and now we will see the parasympathetic. Parasympathetic nervous system is also known as craniosacral division, because the preganglionic fibers of parasympathetic division arise from the opposite end of central nervous system, which are like midbrain pons and medulla oblongata of brainstem, and from the sacral region of spinal cord. That's why it is known as craniosacral division. There are very short postganglionic axons issue from the terminal ganglia and synapse with the effector cells within the other organs. Okay, so the terminal ganglia present in the parasympathetic nervous system are first one is ciliary ganglia. Okay, pterygo palatine ganglion. The third one is submandibular Medullary ganglion, and the fourth one is otic ganglion. Otic ganglion. Okay. The ciliary ganglion arises from the third cranial nerve, which is oculomotor nerve, and the pterygopalatine ganglion arises from the postganglionic neurons like cell bodies of postganglionic neurons of facial nerve, which is the seventh cranial nerve, and the submandibular ganglion arises from the cell bodies of postganglionic neurons of glossopharyngeal nerve, and finally the otic ganglion, it arises from the cell bodies of postganglionic neurons of 10th cranial nerve, which is vagus nerve. Okay. So and the another one are not named specifically as these four are named. Okay, they are just named as intramural ganglion. They are named as intramural ganglion. The meaning of this intramural word is that the ganglia within the walls. Okay, the intramural ganglia means the ganglias which are present in the walls of organs. Okay, so these intramural ganglias are found in the organs, in the walls of the organs. Okay, but these four are found on the in the cranium at different locations. Okay, like the ciliary ganglion is present in the orbital cavity. Okay, so these are found in different locations. As we can say now that the terminal ganglia or the ganglias of parasympathetic nervous system, there are five types of ganglias in parasympathetic nervous system. Due to the location of these terminal ganglia very closer to the effector organ, the postganglionic axons are very short in length as compared to the sympathetic nervous system, where the postganglionic axons were very long, because the sympathetic ganglia were found not closer to the effector organ, but they were found very closer to the spinal cord. That's why the preganglionic axon of sympathetic nervous system were very smaller in length, and whereas in parasympathetic nervous system you will see that there are very long preganglionic preganglionic axons are found. Okay, and in the sympathetic nervous system there were very long postganglionic axons were found, and here very short postganglionic axons are found. And the receptors involved in parasympathetic nervous system, preganglionic preganglionic receptors are here also. They are nicotinic cholinergic receptors. Okay, and receptors, whereas for the ganglionic receptors, there are muscarinic receptors found. Muscarinic receptors are found here. Okay, if we talk about the neurotransmitter of parasympathetic nervous system, mm, neurotransmitter of parasympathetic nervous system, if we talk, then the major neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Okay, because acetylcholine will be the preganglionic and postganglionic as well. Okay, so This was the parasympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, their receptors and their neurotransmitters, and the basic things which will be required for them. Now we will try to summarize the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, as well as the somatic nervous system with one picture. Okay, so for sympathetic nervous system, as we can see here, uh, we talked about the fate of preganglionic neuron of sympathetic nervous system. Okay, we said that sympathetic nervous, the preganglionic nerve fiber either may synapse with the postganglionic neuron of the first sympathetic ganglia. Okay, or this one is the ganglion here. Okay, the sympathetic ganglion. So maybe with the first ganglion, or maybe it can move upward or downward. Okay, or maybe it may not synapse with the sympathetic ganglia here, or maybe just directly move to the effector organ in the form of splanchnic nerve. Okay, so we talked about and the fourth probability, that this preganglionic fiber may move towards the adrenal gland and may innervate the chromaffin cells. Okay, and further the chromaffin cells will act as the postganglionic uh, postganglionic neuron. Okay, but these will not no, but they will release their like neurotransmitter through blood, and which will act on the effector organs. Okay, so let's see the preganglionic in the first case, where the preganglionic neuron is forming a synapse in the ganglion. Okay, and it releases the preganglionic neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Okay, as we saw here, that the preganglionic neurotransmitter in case of sympathetic nervous system was acetylcholine. Okay, so it is acetylcholine is released by the preganglionic neuron, and here in the sympathetic ganglion, there are nicotinic cholinergic receptors found on the cell body of the on the cell body of the mm, uh, postganglionic neuron. Okay, the acetylcholine will bind to these nicotinic receptors and further activate the postganglionic neuron, and the postganglionic neuron will secrete the another neurotransmitter or postganglionic neurotransmitter, which we discussed was norepinephrine, as we said before. Okay, the postganglionic neurotransmitter will be norepinephrine. Now this norepinephrine will further act on the or binds to the final effector receptors. Okay, which are present on the effector organs, like the glands. It may be some glands. Okay, it may be heart, urinary bladder. These receptors can be present. Okay, and lungs, eyes. Okay, so and the receptors which are present in these effector organs where the norepinephrine or noradrenaline will bind will are adrenergic receptors, which are alpha or beta receptors. Okay, and the another probability is that the preganglionic neuron may secrete acetylcholine, which is the presynaptic neurotransmitter, and it will act on the nicotinic receptors found on the chromaffin cells, which will after binding stimulate the chromaffin cells to release norepinephrine or epinephrine. In majority of cases, epinephrine is released mostly from these chromaffin cells, and in very less amount norepinephrine or noradrenaline is released. Okay, and it will bind to the smooth muscles of blood vessels, maybe some endocrine glands also. Okay, So and will form or produce their response over here. Okay, so it was about the sympathetic nervous system. And one thing which we said that the in sympathetic nervous system, the preganglionic neuron is shorter in length, whereas the postganglionic neuron is always longer in length. Whereas in parasympathetic nervous system, the preganglionic neuron is longer in length, whereas the postganglionic neuron is very shorter in length due to the location of the ganglion very closer to the effector organs. Whereas in sympathetic nervous system, the ganglion is present very far away to the from the effector organ and very closer to the spinal cord. So that's why the this is the difference here. If we see about the parasympathetic nervous system, so the preganglionic will release acetylcholine, and it will act here on the nicotinic receptor, which will further, after getting excited, they will release acetylcholine, okay, which is the postganglionic neurotransmitter. As we said that in post parasympathetic nervous system, acetylcholine will be the preganglionic as well as postganglionic neurotransmitter. Okay, and this the postganglionic acetylcholine released from postganglionic neuron will act on the muscarinic receptors present in these organs, maybe heart, eyes, lungs, or urinary bladder. Okay, so and their effect will be opposite in both the situation. In the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic, they will produce opposite responses to each other. Okay, and in somatic nervous system, we see that no ganglion is here, only one motor neuron is present here, which finally secretes only acetylcholine. Okay, and the receptor which are present here are nicotinic NM receptors, means the as we said, neuromus on the neuromuscular junctions. These are NM receptors. So it was all about sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now we will summarize it in the form of a table, at which location which receptor are found, what are the agonist of specific agonist of that receptor, and what are the antagonist of that receptors. Okay, so we will try to look for that with the table and summarize whatever we have studied here. So for all postganglionic parasympathetic and few postganglionic sympathetic neurons, the type of receptor found is muscarinic receptor. The type of receptor found over here is muscarinic receptor is found here, and the selective agonist which acts on the receptors is muscarine. Okay, muscarine. And the selective antagonist which will act here is atropine. Okay, and in case of ganglia, it was for in both of the cases. And in case of ganglia, or like all the ganglia of parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system, which receptors are found in ganglia, then these are the nicotinic receptor, which are NN, means the neuroneural junction, the receptors found on the neuroneural junction. And also in the adrenal medulla, you can see here that in adrenal medulla and the sympathetic ganglia of sympathetic and uh, parasympathetic nervous system, the receptors found in ganglia are NN receptors. Okay, so here are found nicotinic receptors, which are NN. Okay, nicotinic receptors. And the selective agonist for these receptors will be DMPP, which is dimethylphenyl piperazinium, which is methyl phenyl piperazinium. Okay, and the antagonist which will act over here will be hexamethonium. Hexamethonium. Okay, and if we talk about the skeletal muscles, in the case of skeletal muscle, the receptor found is nm receptor. Okay, it is also, as we know, that it is also a nicotinic receptor, and is written as nm because of neuromuscular junction. So here also nicotinic, but nm receptor, okay, is found here. And the selective agonist, if we talk for here, are ptma, which means phenyl trimethyl ammonium. Okay, and the selective antagonist over here will be d-tubocurarine. D-tubocurarine. Okay, and for the central nervous system, the type of receptor found here is muscarinic receptors. Okay, and the selective agonist which act in on these receptors is muscarine, and the another is carbachol. And the selective antagonist which act here will be, the first one is atropine, and the another one is d-tubocurarine. So guys, this was all about autonomic nervous system, some basic points which we should have to remember for starting the drugs and their all mechanisms. Okay, so guys, if you really like the video, please like it, share it, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please subscribe it for all latest updates about the latest videos. So, and thank you so much.